Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was only going to be a matter of time before we would have to return to this subject of Pokemon Go and Niantic. What we have here is the following. Pokemon Go players slam Hoenn Tour as the worst event ever. And ladies and gentlemen, this does not surprise me one single bit with the amount of articles prior to this one that have come out in response to Niantic and the Hoenn Tour event. It just honestly seems like that the Hoenn Tour event in general is just absolutely cursed and horribly executed. But let's go into deeper details here. Pokemon Go players have never been shy about voicing their frustrations over the game, and now they've labeled the Hoenn Tour event the worst ever. It feels like the hits never end for Niantic and Pokemon Go. Well, maybe that right there should be an indication and a wake-up call to Niantic to unfuck themselves and actually start thinking with their head instead of their ass. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep going here. Whether it's a storm of bugs and glitches or negative reception to big changes, the company is nearly always at the center of fans' online ire. Doesn't surprise me at this point, in all honesty. That has come to a head with February's Hoenn Tour event, which received an even heavier dose of criticism than usual, and one fan is ready to throw in the towel on anything that is not GoFest if the team doesn't make some major changes. And to the fan that wants to throw in the towel unless some major changes are made, I wouldn't hold your breath on that, friendo, because here's the thing, is that Niantic is literally incapable of taking community criticism seriously. It has been a repeat pattern behavior for literal years at this point. The aforementioned player called out low shiny spawn rates and a general lack of content as the crux of the problem, and it didn't take long for others to join in. Oh boy, here we go. This event might actually be the worst event that tops buggier events like GoFest 2017. If you guys have been around during that time, you would remember the absolute atrocity that GoFest 2017 was. Like, it was legitimately just such a really big cringe fest, and I felt awful for all of the attendees having to deal with that bullshit in person. There was literally nothing to do after the first rotation of habitats except raid, and yet you need a team of 10 to 15 to beat the primals that likely will run from you. The shiny rate, even for the boosted spawns, were so low, it may as well have been full odds hunting. If keep making the tour events in this format from this point onward, I will skip and just do GoFest. Other fans echoed this sentiment, with one suggesting that the raids that made up much of the content could have been massively improved by upping the invitable player limit to 10. See, that right there would have been a simple yet effective quality of life change for many players that love raids. Someone else remarked that Niantic's slow pivot away from remote raids makes things more ridiculous, as much of the United States is still locked into winter weather. As we previously wrote, many players shared stories about traversing the cold for minimal reward, with some having to dash between buildings strategically to avoid harsh winds. Niantic has yet to respond to these complaints, but fans are clearly unhappy with the way things unfolded. Well, good luck getting a decent response from Niantic when it comes to yet another mess that their negligence and incompetence inevitably causes. And I mean, we are in the season of winter after all, you know what I'm saying? That's where snow and a bunch of other cold shit is something that we have to deal with. I don't think Niantic even realized that we're still in the winter season, so having an event like this, probably not the best idea when it comes to the timing. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the article in question titled "Pokemon Go Players Subjected to Freezing Temperatures to Participate in Hoenn Tour." I honestly feel really freaking bad for these players, like, my god. So I want to quickly run through this article to give you guys a little bit more details in regards to the icy cold temperatures that players had to unfortunately brave to participate in this event. A post on the Pokemon Go subreddit made a joke about the experience of Canadian fans participating in the global Hoenn Tour event with a picture of the character Elsa from Frozen discovering her hands freezing over. I will have to say that is a pretty clever way to meme this experience. Definitely gotta give it to the fan for keeping their comedic edge in this situation. The OP commented on the post explaining the meme and said, "Today I was walking around the downtown of my city, strategically choosing which streets have buildings tall enough to shield me from the blowing snow. Thankfully they were able to duck inside various public buildings to get some warmth back into their hands, but playing out in the blistering cold is never overly fun." Now, here's the thing, alright, is that I do understand that sometimes weather's unpredictable and stuff like that, but seasons are a thing for a reason, because per season, we have expected weather patterns. And for there to be a big event for Hoenn Tour during the winter, again, I don't like the timing. The post sparked a discussion from other trainers who also had to brave some nasty weather for a chance to enjoy the event. You see, that right there just pisses me off, okay? Like, players shouldn't have to freaking jump through hoops and have freaking arrows and shit being shot at them, or in this case here, blizzards and cold weather and stuff like that, just to enjoy a freaking event in Pokemon Go. Like, that is ridiculous. Southern California here, you'd think it'd be a balmy 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, but nope. We were running on rain all day, 30 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit, and even snow in some areas. That's really rare here. I opted for an indoor mall after an hour of getting showered on. Another trainer noted that the February time slot seemed contradictory to the theme of the event. And the fact that I'm not the only one that sees the contradiction slash bad timing here, it's pretty interesting. When I think of Hoenn region, I think of warm weather, lots of water, and tropical areas. Instead, they held it during February when there was snow instead of June/July, which would have been more comfortable for the players and more fitting. And that's just it, you know? When I think of these regional tour events, so like Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, etc., these are very sizable events. I would dare say that they are somewhat comparable to GoFest, so they should be treated as such. They should be held during seasons where the weather is most likely going to be optimal, such as the June to August range. You know what I'm saying? It's not really that hard to figure out there, Niantic. Your own players that want to play in the events that you host shouldn't have to suffer from bad weather, and they shouldn't have to try to keep themselves from freezing to death by hopping from building to building to building, you know? That just doesn't seem like a very, very pleasant way to play. And ladies and gentlemen, we could keep on going all night if we wanted to, because there are many other articles when it comes to the negatives coming from Pokemon Go Hoenn Tour, because it's just absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I have to honestly say that aside from GoFest 2017, this has to be the worst event in Pokemon Go history. You know what I'm saying? And I was thinking the entire time that nothing could ever top the absolute infamous mess that was GoFest 2017, but it seems like that we have ourselves a contender here, boys and girls. Like, we got Pokemon Go player shreds Hoenn Tour's missing bonuses, because missing bonuses when it's an event that you pay for is always nice. Pokemon Go players flee shiny legendary encounters after hundreds of failed catch attempts. And honestly, I think that shiny Pokemon should have a 100% capture rate because of how freaking rare they are. And that right there, when it comes to shiny legendary Pokemon, I am actually very surprised about that as well. Because aren't shiny legendary Pokemon supposed to be guaranteed captures anyways? Like, what is the story about that? And how about this? Pokemon Go Hoenn Tour trainers frustrated after encountering remote raid pass bug. It seems like that one of the most common themes nowadays is the amount of obstacles when it comes to remote raid pass users. And how about bugs in Pokemon Go? That has been a thing for years, and it doesn't exactly surprise me at this point, but it doesn't take away from the legitimate frustration that I have with all of this, as well as the legitimate frustration that many other players are sharing when it comes to these things. Like, I'm honestly so freaking glad. I've said this time and time again, I am sorry for being a repetitive Rick here, but I am so glad that I don't play this game anymore, because the amount of bullshit that is just stacking up and stacking up and stacking up, like, that is enough to make even the biggest Pokemon fans want to turn away from that game because of how horribly managed that it is by Niantic. Like, Niantic, you gotta get that brain up there working, my friend, instead of thinking with your arse. You know what I'm saying? Well, that is if you have a brain to begin with, alright? But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is enough roasting of Niantic and Pokemon Go for one video. Oh my god, like, I have never seen anything like this in recent times. So many articles, so much stuff documented, it's just absolute insanity, okay? But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, I'm just stating my own thoughts, analysis, and opinions based on what is being seen and talked about. What do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comments down below, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your time as well in viewing this video. Have yourself a damn good one, you beautiful people, and I'll see you next time.